you know, there'd be some officers there tell them, you know, that they'd be court-martialed and discharged with BCD, and they said, so what the hell is the difference? I'd rather be out on a BCD than sent to Vietnam and get killed, you know.
Oh, so they were drafted.
And they were totally disruptive and unruly. Yeah,
But you know,
you better put that
yeah,
up
go put that up
for,
there.
in the kitchen there on the shelf. That's
You
good.
put it on the counter, sweetie.
Yeah, that's all right.
Well, you know though, if I had been drafted into the Marines, I might be a little angry too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the Marine basic is not an easy thing to go through.
Yeah, I'm, I'm pretty sure they were Marines, but they could have been special forces in the Army, but I think they were Marines because I remember thinking that I always had a high regard for Marines as being really gung-ho, good guys, ready to go the way, you know, and do the whole whatever it takes, you know.
Well, I have mixed feelings about Marines too because I was in class with Marines, and in fact, one of my classes had a lot of Marines in it, and I just think their basic, of course, it's probably changed over the years, but it does something to them, to
Yeah.
where like it requires, like they'll really be cutting up and stuff, but not for their Marine sergeants.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they are scared to death of those guys.
Yeah,
So maybe it takes a special kind of yelling. I don't know, but what you said though makes sense. I bet they were drafted
yeah.
because of what they said. And I'll tell you, if someone had drafted me to be a Marine and made me go through all that crap, you know, it's one thing to go through that and be a volunteer and know that you chose that. It's another thing to go through all that and know you're forced into it.
Well, the thing is, and I don't know what's in our future, but if Vietnam and Korea and stuff really weren't quite the same as like World War II and World War I.
Yeah.
But of course, when people got drafted for World War II, they maybe weren't happy with getting the draft, but they were ready to go. You know,
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Well, I think
everybody was ready to fight
you
for the
saw
country.
that it was really a big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
But if you need the army, and if your government decides that Vietnam is the thing to do, or Korea is the thing to do, and the government decides they need and they want, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff say they need so many men, you know, and the recruiters aren't getting them, what do you do?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think a lot of it's the way it's packaged. Because in World War II, they could say, yes, let's go fight the Germans, let's go fight the Japs that just bombed us,
Yeah,
you know, and people
yeah.
sign right up. The thing is, with Korea and Vietnam both, like when I was in high school, they had packaged both those wars as part of the Cold War.
Yeah.
Because really, it wasn't about going to Vietnam, it wasn't about going to Korea, it was about keeping those countries from turning communist
Yeah.
and joining in with communist Russia.
Yeah.
So really, it was part of the Cold War.
Yeah.
But the thing is, all that was classified at that point in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They couldn't say, let's go fight the Russians. If they had said that, then maybe people would have wanted to be there and wanted to join up because, you know, there was all kinds of anti-communist fervor in the United
for
States
sure.
at that time, you know?
Yeah.
So the thing is, they couldn't package it that way. And so what it looks like to the average American citizen is I'm walking into this third world nation and bombing them. Is this really what I want to do? They couldn't see the bigger picture of how it fit in. You know?
Well, it's tough even today, you know, with Iraq and Iran, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, Iraq and Afghanistan, and we weren't too interested in sending in any troops on the ground into Libya and the Arab Spring, you know. But that ain't over with yet. You know, it's hard to tell what will happen. NATO got pretty involved.
I think the whole entire, I mean, I'm an outsider now, obviously, but I personally, when I was in the forces dealing with Arabic, I was rooting for these Middle Eastern people, like these countries that are subjugated by these presidents, these puppet
sure.
governments, you know. And I would talk to people from those countries. I met people, you know, and it was just always really sad, you know, because they had this semblance of democracy, but it wasn't real.
Yeah.
So, like, I am glad that some of these countries are taking control. However, I can also see that it's bad because it destabilizes the region in general. And it could open up a window for other, even worse people to take
Yeah.
root. So it's all about, okay, it could be good because maybe they'll become true democracies.
We hope.
Right, but then it could be bad. So I don't know. But I just, yeah. I think in a way though, America just needs to, I think we've done too much in the Middle East actually. I think that's why they hate us so much. It started with Britain a long time ago, like in the 1900s, and I don't know, because we have been trying to stabilize this region, they blame us for all of their problems. So why not just let them have some control over it, and then if they screw it up, they can blame themselves.
That's like my Japanese boss said we should, you know, Japan didn't want to, after World War II, go into any place, you know.
Right.
And it took some real maneuvering to get them to help out at all in Iraq. Yeah, yeah. But Hiroshi says, just let them all kill each other, you know. Just leave them alone, let them kill each other. But that's all right as long as they don't come over here and take down the trade towers and a few other things, you know.
Well, I think that if there is a tendency for the United States to feel like they need to police every corner,
Yeah, we can't
and
do
you
it.
just you can't afford it. We certainly can't, not with the social problems and the economic problems. It'd be different if we were living in the 1990s, you know, when we had that huge economic boom, but
Yeah.
we don't have that right now.
No.
We're in a second, probably a second recession, possibly going on into a depression. We need to be thinking about slimming things down, slimming involvement down.